Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channels. Or in this video, we are going to talk about throw and throws keyword in Java, which is very important. I already talked about what is the try and catch, how we are using the try and catch block, and we talk about the keyword also, and we have talked about the scenario, like when we are using it. But today in this video, I'm going to talk about how we can use the throw and throws. What is the situation and why it's important. So throw is nothing but, for example, in you are writing some code, and some code is giving some exception. So you are check those exceptions, like this value is getting some null. So you have to inform them to the, like, whatever the method will call you, like it's a chaining of the methods, and whoever is called you, calling your methods, you have to inform them, like you are getting some null, yeah, you are getting some value which is not relevant to us, so you are throwing the exception to them. I hope, like, you are not cleared, but I will try to explain you in the good way. Throw means, in the current method you are trying to throw some exception. So generally we are using this throw keyword for the custom exception. We are creating our own custom exception, or whatever the exception class is existing, you can use those also, and you can throw the exception from your method, and those exception will go to the calling methods. Okay, and those method is able to handle it, this type of the exception. Okay, so for example, if you don't want to handle the exception, you can use throw and throws keyword. Throws keyword. If you don't want to handle it, you want to throw the exception, like I don't want to handle it, I just want to throw the exception, then you can sure about, like, whatever the calling method is there, he will handle it. Then you can throw the exception, he will handle it, it will use. But if the scenario where you want to handle it is mandatory to handle, then you have to write your own try and catch block and you have to handle it. So whenever the scenario is like you don't want to handle, you can throw the exception, just throw. Okay, same thing when you are whenever you are using the throws, that place you have to use throws also at a method level. So throws we are using the method level, use, like whatever the method you are getting the exception, you can throw it. You don't want to handle it, so you can just throw it and he will able to handle those exception. So like that. So throw is means you are throwing the exception. If user is throwing the exception, if developers want to throw exception because of some situation, then you can use throw. But if both, like developer want or automatic or auto exist or predefined, exception happen, then also you can use throws keyword for throwing exception to calling method. What is the mean by calling method? Calling method means whatever the method is calling to the your method, that is called calling method. The method which you are able to call your method, that is called calling method. I'm going to explain all those things with the creating one class, and I will demonstrate it so that you can understood in the better way. Okay, so let's go to the Eclipse, and inside the Eclipse, like I have written some code, so I will remove it. Okay, simple. So okay, let's start. So I will created here one new exception demo, and I call this method here, and in this methods, like I call there here this method. So main method is nothing but calling method of the display. So inside the main method I am calling the display method, and in display method is throwing some exception. For example, in display method I have divided something just as arithmetic exception. Some number is divided with 0. So I am sure about this method will give in some exception, definitely, because it's called from here, and this calling methods is we have written here. We are not handling the any exceptions here, we are not throwing also. Okay, but this method is called by this main class, and this main methods is handle the exception. Just run this code here. So automatic throw is happen. Okay, automatic throwing is happen because we are not getting here any exceptions. Okay, it will call these methods, he will automatically throwing this exception here. It will go to this class, and in this class he return the try and catch block. I will do one more thing, I will remove this try. Okay, now understood. This is the one methods, and we are calling from the main methods, right? So this is the problem. We are getting the arithmetic exception in this method, display method only. He is saying in display method only we are getting the exception, line number something. Okay, so what I will do is I will write here, hey, I don't want to handle it, I just want to throw the exception. So I will write throws keyword. For throwing the exception from the method label, we can say throws exception. Throw exception. So it will, this method is able to throw the exception if anything is happen. So make sure this is like in main method we are getting this exception, right? Here saying, hey, add the throw and try and catch or throw the exception. Okay, so for example, he is throwing the exception. I call this method, he is throwing the some exception, and we are not handling here. So here we are getting the exception. So we have a two way to handle it. One is handle here, like put this line inside the try and catch block. I will just write here try and catch block. So issue will fix automatically. This line of the statements is going inside this try and catch blocks, then issue is fixed. But the problem is I don't want to handle with the try and catch. I just want to throw this one also from this method also. Okay, so here also I will write throws exception, throw exception. Now I am not getting any exception. So if you feel like no, I don't want to handle those exceptions, so you can just throw it, and whatever the callable class, if he interested to handle it, he will handle through the try and catch. If he is also not interested, he will just throw the exception. So JVM is calling this method, so JVM will able to handle this type of the exception. So that is not a good practice, that is not a good coding. If you give the everything to handle by the JVM, that is not good. So that is the not good programming way. Okay, I hope you understood. That is the one issue. We are using the throws, like we are escaping the exception, we are sending back to the one method to another method, we are not handling it. Okay, so we are just throwing the exception. No, he's saying I have exception but I don't want to handle it, I will throws. He will saying okay, I have exception but I don't want to handle it, I will throws. Okay, so whoever is the last caller, he will handle it, right. Okay, let's go to the another part. Like you understood the what is the throws, escaping the exception. Throws means escaping the exception. I will write here, if you don't want to handle, if you, I already written escaping, exception, then use throws as method label, and you can use this only in the method level only. Use after method signature. Okay, so this is nothing but method signature, this is nothing but method signature, and after method signature I am throwing the exception, and then our method body is started. These are the method body, these are the method body, so I am throwing the exception. Okay, fine. When you are using the throws means, hey, I don't want to throw the exception directly anything, I don't want to throw the exception directly anything, I want to send some particular message of the exception. For example, here having a null, right? So if I call this method demo, it will give me the exception, right? Right now if you see here, you are seeing null pointer exception and nothing good message, exception in thread main com dot waiting com, like that message he will give him, right? So I'm saying no, I don't want to give like that message, I want to give some proper message. So what I will do, I will write here if demo equal to null, if demo is equal to null, throw, I will use throw keyword, throwed new, I will create one exception class exception, and I will write here please initialize the demo object. I am saying please initialize the demo object, then only call this method, display method. Now if I run this, I am getting some proper message here. Please initialize the demo object. And what type of the message I am getting? java.lang.exception. I am not getting the null pointer exception now. So I am saying, hey, don't throw your own exception. Don't throw your own exception. Throw my exception. I have created one new exception class object, and I will give in some message. You have to throw this exception. Don't throw your own exception. If I comment this, if I save it, he given our own exception. That is not looking good. It is not readable also. But if you want to say no, give my message, because I have already checked it's a null, throw this exception. So you can write this one code and you can properly say please initialize the demo object. Okay, so these are the use of. If you want to throw your own exception, write throw. If you want to skip the exception, write method level throws. In the next video we will learn how to use finally and how to create our own custom exception. Like this is the exception class, it's a predefined. I want to create our own class as a exception. So we can learn those classes, those like how you can create our own class in the new video. Thank you so much for watching my video. Or also one more thing, don't forget to subscribe my channels. Okay, if you go to my channels you can visit some good things and you can understood so many things, and I have made so many video which is very good, interesting also. So hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channels Java